Hello, this is Stefan with Warm Inside. Welcome.
12 inches. That might be a little bit too much for some of you, so let's see if we can narrow this down.
Okay, so some of you probably laughed earlier when I said you don't, I don't measure, and we found out how stupid that was. I knew it, but really, I looked at this. I was like, oh, it's thick, it's big, but that's okay. No. It turned out to be way too thick for the majority of the customers. I'm not saying there's not a market for it, but just looking at it, you could definitely see that I'm going to have some problems with that. Good thing is, we made it in Blender, so not a big deal. Come in here and start looking at what we can do here to clean this, or to minimize, make this more marketable, right? Doesn't mean we don't keep the big size, but it does mean maybe we just have multiple sizes, or you know market the smaller ones, see if there's a market for it, and see where we go from there. So to start, I am going to go to object mode. First off, this was discounted as something that doesn't look great, and so I'm going to get rid of that. Got some improvements in there, and then we'll go back into sculpt mode, get our object. I'm sure there's a quick key for that. I need to learn that. Sculpt mode. There we go. And again, I'm going to go back to my symmetry, pull it on the XY. Sorry, just the X, I think, to start. No, let's do the X and Y. Go over here, grab my elastic deform tool, take the brush, make it really, really big, because I'm going to be making some massive changes here. Let's see here. Just gonna grab that and pull it in. Take your points wide so that when you make the changes you can pull them in. Right? So we pulled in a lot up there, pull in a little up here just to keep the symmetry this kind of flowing the same. If you look at the motion, I'm kind of pulling it down and in, pulling these. In like that, pulling that in. Let's see here. Yep. Okay. Kind of can see that we've changed the size massively. I'm gonna actually pull this in a little bit more so it still has that tentacle shape. That in. Yep. Cool. I think that might be good, but let's see what kind of idea we have here. Feel like I'm getting something wrong here. Let's try flattening out a little bit by dropping the X. Is that what I want to drop? Yeah. So I can just pull this in a little bit. There we go. Looks like I might have created some other problems here, but we'll look at that. No, maybe not. I'm looking again, as usual, at this printing, trying to identify spots that bubbles might get caught. I don't see them really having a way to escape here, but maybe. And I have other options there too. I can do things when I'm pouring the mold to kind of give that a chance of escaping better. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work. Do I have it here? I do not have it. Easy rule, or what does this do? I don't think this is what I want. Nope. Yeah, so that's not really useful. I should have measured it up a little bit better, but I am going to obviously work on getting measurement information and get better at doing measurement bases I understand the general concept of what I need to do. Kind of going in here and I don't know, somewhere in here you can set your, maybe it's only in object mode. You can set your scale and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, oh man, that's more work. I don't want to do that. I want to create. But when you do that, you wind up, you know, doing things like creating toys that are massively so large that I mean, I'm not gonna say there's not a market for them. I'm just gonna say your market might be more limited than you would like. So cool. We narrowed that in a little bit, cleaned it up. I am also, and last time I played with this, I knew that I liked this other base a little bit better, but I couldn't get it exactly where I wanted. And I realized what I was doing wrong after playing with it a little bit. So adding a cone, 180 again. I'm going to bring the top radius to 0.75. Oops, 75. And I know it says meters, but what I'm really looking at is kind of the relationship between the top and the bottom. And so maybe 0.8. That might be too close. Let's try 0.6. I'm watching here as I can go in and kind of see the relationship between the top and the bottom. That might work. And then I'm going to cut the depth down in half. There we go. And now, I need my other object. Let's see, quad sphere, cone. There we go. Take this bad boy, move it down a little bit. Awesome. Not kind of, I'm going to center it, or get as close as I can to center. Yep, bring it down some more. Cool. And then I am having a problem with this, and I need to do some more research on scale because it's scaling mostly to one side, it seems like, so I'm not really getting a good balance. Oops. Let's see how bad that is. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But that's okay. We can fix it. Come in here, scale it a little bit. Make it there we go. Move it up again. Start looking around here. Not exactly what I'm looking for. A little more sizing. Let's see. Pull it up a little bit. Move it down. Okay, that's more like what I'm looking for. Cool. And then this time I am going to join these two. So right click, join that. And the reason I'm going to do that is so I can take it back into sculpture mode. We are going to remesh the whole thing so it's got good geometry for working on, or at least for what I want to do. I am going to scrape this a little bit. I probably could have brought it in a little bit, but maybe just, oops, yeah, not like that. Let's actually try this another way. I didn't like what that was doing, so let's see if I can bubble this out here. Kind of, yeah, there we go. Kind of pulling that together. Trying to make the seam not as hard. Pull this in here, and then we're going to come along. Take this brush a little bit smaller, kind of scrape it in there. Still have my Y on, so I'm duplicating this on both sides, which is okay for right now. I do not like the way all that's looking, so let's go back a few steps, see how far we can go back. But actually, that's cool. Let's go back one more. There we go. I think that's what I want. Object mode. I think, do I still have two? Yep, cool. And the reason I'm doing that is I realized that this is wider than I want. I'm not getting the good flow that I was looking for into. And I think I can fix that here with a little bit of scaling by pulling this a little narrower. Maybe that's too narrow. Probably pull it there. Reposition it a little bit forward. How's that look? Yeah, I think that looks better. So let's rejoin those again. Go back into our sculpture mode. Again, remesh so that we can work with a nice clean object here. Remeshing always makes it easier for joining things here. No, too big. Trying to pull this so that it looks kind of like a solid flow here. That's where I'm going. So I take a couple tools, strokes. There we go. See, now you kind of lose that line between the two. That's exactly what I wanted. I want that line gone. So when I cast it, it doesn't look like it's two objects stuck together. It's just one object. Obviously the base is going to be a little bit different, but minimizing that difference, I think, will give it a nice look. And then I actually think that I can, let's see, pull this down into the base like that. And maybe too much. Just a little bit of volume there. See if we can. Oops, don't like that. That did. Flatten that, and then just come along and see if we can smooth out that crease. Again, I'm just trying to make these things look like a solid pattern all the way down, so you kind of lose the base into it. We can come back, use our brush here. Got our texture right there, which is exactly what we wanted. Take that brush size out. Oops, no good. Let's go. No, too much. Brush size down a little bit. You know what might help if we turn off the symmetry. I find that the texture brush does not really do what I want with symmetry on. But that's too. edges in. Not really thrilled about those on the side, so we'll just come along and smooth those out. Smooth that out. Ooh, too much. I feel like I need to fix this. This is fixable, I know it is. There we go. Much better. Losing that shelf. Yeah, there we go. Got rid of that shelf completely. Again, right here, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I definitely acknowledge the fact that I have screwed up. I need to improve on my ability to use scale to do measurements. I mean, to understand the exact width and depth and everything of all the stuff that I'm doing here in the future. But that being said, we have now made this smaller. We will file export it as an STL. And one of the things that I really, love about sculpting digitally, doing it in Blender, is this whole idea that, or this whole ability to change these things so quickly. Yeah, I made some mistakes. It's definitely not perfect. Definitely not what I would choose to do in the future. Right? But we are okay. Let's see, I'm on the MK3. Let's see, scale to print volume. There we go. I think I'm going to benefit a little bit here by just making sure that this is smooth. I'm just actually going to come 1 millimeter off the plate. I think that should be plenty to get rid of that junk that I had there. So now we're printing this at 208 millimeters. Just to get a general idea of what this is going to look like at scale. We can figure out that if I was to, I can play around with this and just come right here, about the widest point, perform the cut, and now we know that XY is, it's 82 by 64 in the XY control. Ooh, I thought I could undo that. There we go. Yeah. So option Z, option Z on the Mac, right? Undo that so that I know. But the insertable part is coming at what, 82 by 66. So if we said 70, 70 by what is it? 3.14. Am I doing this right? So we're looking at 220 millimeters for the millimeter people. 220. It's about 7 inches, I think, but millimeters 2 inches. So, ooh, it's 8 inches. So it's still pretty thick, huh? I think that's overestimating maybe, but that is still pretty thick, I would say. And again, that's just a rough estimate. Most of the surface is wide here and then skinny. I don't know. It may benefit from slicing that down a little bit smaller, thinning it out. I'll print it out, take another look, right? Go from there. But the joy of it is worse. The biggest thing about is a couple dollars worth of the PLA, right? If I print this at a 0.2 quality with 15% infill, which is plenty, it's roughly $4 worth of plastic, and I think that's actually grossly overestimated. Let's see here. The filament I'm currently using for my testing is actually running me $9 a kilogram delivered. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. So that's money per kilogram. So I'm paying $9 per kilogram delivered. Which means if I go back here and slice it now, it will give you an estimate of $1.20. I mean, that's hard to beat. So export that G code, save it. Let's see. I do not have DNS set up on my Octopi printer right now, but let's look in here. Oh, it might not be up. It was up this morning. The latest Octopi, I'm having a weird thing where it keeps losing DNS. I don't know if something's set up wrong with its DNS settings, or if it's my dream machine, but one of them is not liking it. See, my mini is still available, so I could print it there and kind of see, but I really like it in the 7-inch. Can slice this over. And yeah, I know I can add this. See. It's odd they default to Link even though none of us have it. Yeah, I can't set that up right now. So I was going to just play around with it, but do I have the mini? I do have the mini. What I like to do on the mini is come in and do it at draft speed, and let's see, print this thing at 50 millimeters tall just to get a feeling. You'll see those in my other videos. Whoa, bring that back. Wrong one. That's the one I meant to hit. Slice that. Do I need supports? So I did notice that there was supports needed on the other one. Yep, that's what I was thinking. But I found they're not doing a very good job, so we'll see what happens here. Let's see if I say supports everywhere, if it puts in some different ones. Yeah, that's too much. I know that these don't need supports in here. Well, let's add a support blocker. Add a support blocker box. Where'd my box go? The box is lost. Go here. There it is. We will move the support. I know that I don't need it in these lower parts here, so let's see what I can do here. Scale it up. I'll just droop. Wait, that's move. Sorry, I want scale. There we go. Pull that. The odd thing I found is that Octoprint has some kind of concept of this. I don't understand what it is, but has a concept of the support blocker and will label it as part of the height. And so, I mean, it must be in the G code somewhere, which I thought was odd. I did not expect that at all. So it threw me for a loop. It's like, oh, your print is out of the normal range. And I'm like, no, it actually isn't. There's no chance of that. And then I realized that somehow it was actually counting. So right here is where I'm having the problem printing on them. On these small ones, actually, if I just crank it, I don't even need this to think about it. On the mini, if I'm printing at 0.2 quality, there will be no problems. I don't even need a support now that I think about it. So we'll do that. Export that G code. Let's see. Print that bad boy. As you can see, I printed another one, but it is not this one. I obviously test things. Oh, that was a 0.10, so that might have been why I didn't need supports. When your layer lines get smaller, supports are needed. Our support need is changed because of the compactness between the lines. Sometimes just kind of makes a different effect. But we'll print this out and we'll see where it goes. And yeah, no, that's an example of how you can adapt and make things smaller. And I hope that was useful. Have a great.
Just in case any of you notice, the printout that you see here at 8 inches is not the one I did in the video. It's pretty close, but I just didn't like exactly what I had, so I tuned it a little more, printed it out at the same 210 millimeter size. Comes in at 8 inches compared to 8.5 inches on a soda can.